Welcome in, everyone. Happy Thursday, and 2 days until kickoff of big college football games. We got games tonight, though, too, and tomorrow night. Hey, listen, Golden Blue Dude is still sick, still under the weather. So you'll have me tonight, but I've also got our good buddy, Ty Guy. What do you say there, Jeff? How you doing, man?
Hey, Joey. Really excited for this week. There's really some great games this week coming up.
Yeah, I think I'm more excited for this week than I've been all year, with the exception of maybe week one and week two. There were some really good games. This week there are some really really good games.
I
So
will
shout
tell you
out
one
shout
thing,
out to everyone
Joey.
in the chat.
I am kind of
Yeah,
sad that it is November. This football season is going way too fast. It's going to be over
I
before we
know.
know it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, a special shout out to everybody in the chat. We appreciate you guys being with us. I'm going to have several screens open throughout the show because we're going to do a pick 'em, to where we're just going to pick who we think's going to win each game, tell you the lines of the game, and so if you're making comments, I may not see it. The best way to do it, super chat it, because then it'll pop up on the screen, and I'll know what comments you have, and that would be your best bet. So um, anyway, so I'm gonna bring this up, Jeff, and we'll go right into this. Uh, I have let me get this. So yeah, hold on one second there. Hold on one second there. Okay. All right, man. So here we have the sports book up. And let me go to where in the world? Football. Here we go. Football. Let's go into college football here. Let's look at some lines, talk about some games. In the chat, I'd like to know who you guys are going to pick too in games. So if you see us pick a game, I'd like to see you pick it as well. Let me see if I can increase the size here a little bit. Can you see it on the screen at all there, Jeff?
Yeah, I can
You
see.
see that?
Yep.
All right. So let me come back over here real quick. We will come back over here. I'll tell you what I'll do. I won't make that a full size layout. Let me just
That
do that.
works.
We're just
Then
put
everybody
us in
can
the
read it a little
background.
better.
Yeah. And I'll make it a full screen layout, and I can make it a little bit smaller now.
Yeah. No, nope, that works actually a lot better because then they can read that. They don't have to look at my ugly face on here. They can actually see. They can see the lines with us.
There's not really any games tonight to talk about, really. I mean, we got UTEP at Rice and Appalachian State at Coastal Carolina. Appalachian State at Coastal Carolina should be a good game. App State favored by 3, but still unranked teams.
Right.
So
And that
some
will
hard.
be an entertaining game.
It will be. It will be. It'll be a great game to watch. You know, it's kicking off here in about 25 minutes. We have tomorrow night Duke at Boston College, Massachusetts at Connecticut, and then we have a good game tomorrow night. Oregon State at Washington at 10:30. Um, let's see. So Washington is favored by 4 in that game. I'm gonna tell you what.
No,
I'm gonna go with
Oregon
Oregon
State's
State.
favored. Or Oregon State's favored by 4.
Oh, did I look at it wrong? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
or Oregon
No,
State's favored by 4.
it's saying Washington's favored by 4. Washington -4.
Oh, wow.
Oregon State
Okay.
+4. Yeah. So it's saying Washington's favored. I'm gonna go with Oregon State in that game.
Well, the one thing is in the Pac-12 for some reason. I mean, we discuss this every week. You know, you look at the lines in that, and we always tell everybody Vegas gives you 3 points if you're at home. For some reason, home advantage means just a little bit more in the Pac-12. Those teams are really ferocious at home, and I think that's why they get a little bit more benefit of the doubt than a few of the other conferences. The problem with Washington is I've been impressed with them twice this year. but unfortunately they played 9 games. And the other 7, I really haven't been that impressed with them. And Oregon State, they've been a really good team. They've given a lot of people headaches. So yeah, I can't see Washington winning this game.
Yeah, that's how I am. I just see Oregon State pulling the mild upset on the road. All right, so Saturday we have Air Force Army. Let's just talk mainly about the ranked games. Let's see, we've got North Carolina at Virginia. North Carolina 7.5-point favorite. I'm going to have to take North Carolina on that in that game. Virginia is just not impressive at all this year.
Right, and North Carolina is 7-1. They might not have looked really impressive all the time, but they're finding ways to win, and Virginia's just not that good. I don't see Virginia being able to score the way North Carolina is. I know North Carolina's defense isn't the greatest, but North Carolina is going to throw up, minimum 35 points, and I can't see Virginia scoring more than 21.
One thing I will do here real quick, I'm going to put a link in the chat. What that's for is if you'll click on that link, it'll take you to betus.com, which is where I'm at. If you use that link and sign up, you'll get a 125% match bonus. So if you put $100 on there, you're going to have $225 to bet with. They're going to match you 125%. So, but only when you use that link. So be sure and use that link. And all right, so let's go to the next game up. Michigan on the road at Rutgers. Michigan a 27-point favorite. Over under in this game is 44.5. I'm tempted to take the over, but I'm sure they're probably thinking Rutgers is not going to score.
Right. Well,
what do you think?
Rutgers is a lot better this year. And the problem I see in this game is we had the first polls come out on Tuesday night, and I think Michigan feels like they got overlooked. So I think they're going to come out in this game with something to prove because they want up in the rankings. So I think Michigan's going to, score some points. The problem is I think Rutgers is too. And the only problem I have is that's a lot of points. 27 points. Michigan hasn't covered all the time. So I think I would take Rutgers with 27. And I definitely would take the over. I think they will score over 44.5.
So you think Rutgers and a plus 27? I tell you what, we disagreed on that game because I'll take Michigan. I'm gonna take Michigan, and I would take them to cover. You're saying Rutgers? I'm gonna pick that game for you here. Let's see how you do. All right. Next game up, Wake Forest at NC State. Wake Forest a 4-point favorite on the road at NC State. And I realize, here's what I know. I know Wake Forest got this tremendous offense. NC State's got a pretty daggone good defense. And now, are they elite? No. But they're a good defense, and I think they can slow down Wake Forest. I'm going to take NC State. I'm going to cover. I'm not going to take them to win it. I think they will win it probably, but I'm going to take NC State in 4 points. I think they'll cover.
This is a hard game for me. Up until last week, I'd have said no way Wake Forest loses this, but they gave up 8 turnovers to Louisville. And I don't want to put down Louisville, but that defense is nowhere near as good as NC State. So I'm with you. I see NC State actually winning this game. So especially, with 4 points, I don't see a problem with that. Now, the over-under to me, 54.5. I think both offenses could put up that many numbers, but I think the defense on NC State is better. So I don't even think I'd want to touch the over-under, but I definitely would take North Carolina State at home.
Yeah, that's me. I don't want to touch the over-under, and I'm like you. I'll take NC State, but I wouldn't take. I'm confident they're going to win it, but not so confident that I would take them straight up. I would take the points.
Yeah.
Okay, another game, 7:30. Of course, this is unranked teams, but still Power Five. Florida State on the road at Miami. Florida State an 8-point favorite. Over under in this game is 53. And Miami has shown me nothing on offense this entire year. I mean, literally nothing. What was it last week? 4 overtimes, and they managed to score, what, 12 points? What was the final
Yeah.
score?
It took them 4 overtimes to get 2 points in overtime to make it 12 points. So,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
that was
that's
Purdue.
ridiculous. So I would definitely be taking the under in this game. I wouldn't even care who won this game. I'm taking the under 53 in this game.
Yeah, and this is one of them. I think Miami plays a lot better because it is Florida State. It is kind of a rival. But just the way Miami has played this year, I have no confidence that they can cover. I think Florida State probably wins by 2 touchdowns at least.
SEC dog, I thank you for telling me that. And you're not the first one telling me that. I mean, I've been getting people telling me that all week, that they're not getting notified that we're live and stuff. I think yesterday people got notified a little bit. We had a pretty good crowd, but I don't know. Some days we get notified, and some days we don't. I know when it went live, my phone's sitting here beside of me. It never went off to let me know that I'm live. So my notification didn't come in either. All right, next we have Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech. Georgia Tech's at Virginia Tech. These are 2 really, really bad teams. I mean, and I wouldn't touch this game for nothing on either team. I wouldn't touch the over under either because the defenses are so bad that who knows what could happen here.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is a game that, I mean, Georgia Tech, though, has looked better since they did get rid of their coach. But I'm like you, I still don't have enough confidence giving up 3 points to Virginia Tech.
No. All right. Iowa at Purdue. Purdue a 3.5 point favorite. And Purdue's at home. Over under 38.5. I would take Purdue in this game to win it. But Iowa's got that really good defense. It's on an offense. So I think on this game, I would just take the under 38.5.
Kind of the way I look at it is, and I know everybody's going to say, well, Iowa scored last week. Well, that was Northwestern. If you're telling me that Purdue is going to win by 3.5 points, you're telling me Purdue is only going to score 13.5 points because Iowa's not going to score more than 10. So that would definitely be an under because, I mean, Iowa, that offense just can't score. It depends too much on the defense, getting a takeaway. It depends on, field position, and finally they get the ball inside, the other team's 50 and they can score that way. So I think Purdue beats them by more than 3.5, but I don't see it getting to 30. I don't see it getting to 38.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm just curious. Has Iowa had a game this year that's went over the over-under? I don't believe they have.
Last week it actually did because they scored 33 for the first time, and the over-under was 39. But you have to keep in mind that was Northwestern. And I mean, Northwestern is historically bad.
All right. So next game up. Oh, and by the way, guys, let me tell y'all, do not take this as betting advice. Don't listen to me and Ty Guy. By any means necessary, go to a professional person that does this for a living and get your help. Don't get it from us. I mean, but it is interesting to know how we do. And I'll place a couple of bets here in a little bit, and I'll place a bet for Ty Guy because my agreement is I'll place a bet for Golden Blue Dude every week. Let's see how he does. And last week he almost won his card. He lost 1 game on it. So, all right. So let's go to Penn State at Indiana. Penn State a 14.5 point favorite. Over under on this game is 50. This is going to be a good game.
Yeah,
Penn
Penn
State,
State has
Indiana.
a lot
I
to
don't know which
prove,
way I'm
Joey.
going. I know they do.
Penn State just got, the brakes beat off them by Michigan. And then they had that heartbreak loss to Ohio State. I mean, they had Ohio State on the ropes for the better part, of 3 quarters. And, unfortunately, Franklin in the big game, he just can't finish. Indiana is having a really bad year this year. So I really think Penn State is going to cover the 14.5 points. I don't know about the over-under, though, because I don't know. Indiana played Michigan really well and scored 30 points. And Penn State, they put up almost 30 against Ohio State. So I think the over-under, I think I would go over, but I'm not confident in it.
One more time, if you're in the chat, I'm getting my numbers from BetUS, and I'll put the link back in the chat right here. If you'll click on this link that's coming in, you can get 125% match bonus on your first deposit, and bet with us. See how you do. All right. So you said Penn State to cover the 14.5, right?
Yeah, I got Penn State to cover the 14, and I think it does go to the over, but I'm not super confident in that.
Okay, I'm gonna check that one then, because I don't agree with you there. I think Indiana is going to cover. I don't think they're going to win the game by any means. I think Penn State's struggling a little bit, and I think that Indiana's going to cover. All right, next game up, James Madison on the road at Louisville. Louisville, a 7.5 point favorite. Over under on this game is 52.5. You know what? I'm going to take James Madison to cover. I'm not going to take him to win. And now Austin, we would not like that very much if I picked Louisville to lose the game. But I think that Louisville could lose this game. But I'm not going to pick them to lose. But I'm going to pick James Madison to cover.
The one thing I would like to know is which Louisville team is going to show up. Is it the team that lost to Boston College? Because if that's the team, James Madison wins. Or is it the team that got 8 turnovers against Wake Forest and looked really, really well? Because, the way they played last week, I'm tempted to take Louisville and give up the 7.5 points. I definitely think the over-under, I would definitely bet the over on this game. But personally, I'm gonna say that Louisville, the team that shows up, is the team that played last week because they want to go to a bowl and they want the coach to keep his job. So I got Louisville winning this and covering.
Okay, so we disagree there. So I'm gonna put Louisville on a card there for you. All right, moving on down. Syracuse at Pittsburgh. Pitt's a 4-point favorite over the Orange. 48.5 as the over-under. And honestly, I think Syracuse is a good team. I think they were exposed a little bit last week, but I still think they're a good team. Can Dina Babers get them back to where they were performing when they were 5-0, 6-0? And Pitt's been a team that's been up and down all year long. They've played really good games, and then they've got blown out in games. So I'm not confident in this game at all. I wouldn't bet either one of these, but I'm going to say Syracuse is going to win this game straight out and upset Pitt.
And I agree with you. Syracuse, I think the problem with Syracuse is Clemson beat them twice.
Yeah.
I think, they put it all on the line against Clemson. And unfortunately, they played Notre Dame the next week. And I think that Clemson game cost them 2 wins. But I do think that Syracuse wakes up now. And I do think Syracuse will beat Pitt. So I would definitely take Pitt. I would not do the over-under because I can tell you for a fact that if Syracuse defense shows up and Pitt's defense, it's going to be under. But if both of their offenses show up, that it's going to be over. So I don't think I would touch the over-under on this one at all.
The next game, I can tell you right now, Oklahoma State and Kansas. Oklahoma State got absolutely demolished and embarrassed last week. And Kansas, I believe I heard they're getting Jalen Daniels back. Or am I right about that? Jalen Daniels
Yeah,
coming back?
I heard Daniels is coming back.
So if Daniels is back, the over under on this game is 63. I'm taking the over 63 because there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. Um, I think Oklahoma State's going to have to come out and prove something because they didn't do very good last week at all. And they're going to be able to get some points on Kansas. I can see them scoring 35, 40 points on Kansas, but I can see Kansas scoring 50 or 55 points on Oklahoma State. I really can. I'm gonna just take the over 63 in this game. I would leave everything else alone.
Yeah, I mean, I know I said this for about a couple other games, but yeah, it's true. Which Oklahoma State team shows up? Is it this Oklahoma State team that struggled against Texas, but then all of a sudden turned it on in the second half and looked really good again? Or, but then turned around and got the brakes beat off them by Kansas State? I think Oklahoma State has something to prove, and I think they're going to put it all on the line. I would love to pick Kansas because I think they're a great story this year. But I do think if I was to bet on this, I think I take Oklahoma State to cover.
Yeah. It's just a pick 'em game. There's no line. So,
yeah.
All right. Next game, Navy and Cincinnati. We won't even touch on that game. So
What'd you say? Go Navy.
Yeah, just say go Navy. South Florida Temple, we'll just leave that one alone too. All right, Minnesota on the road at Nebraska. Minnesota a 16-point favorite, over under 45. I'm pretty confident in this one to say Minnesota will beat Nebraska, and I'll lay the 16 points. I'll lay it and say Minnesota wins by 16.
Nebraska's coach right now. It was reported that Arizona State is in talks with him. I think he still has a slight chance of becoming the coach at Nebraska, depending on how they go the next few. I think Minnesota beats them. I think Minnesota probably beats them by 10, maybe even 14. But that's 16. I think I would take 16.
All right, so I'll put that on the card for you.
But I do see. I don't see an upset here. I don't see it really being a really close game. But I do think the 16 points is tempting to take it.
Okay, so you think Nebraska will cover? I'll put that on the card there.
Yep.
All right, Marshall, Old Dominion. Not a lot of need to talk about that game either. All right, here's a good game. And here is my pick for an upset this week. Liberty at Arkansas. 14.5-point dogs. Liberty's 14.5-point dogs in this game. Over under 61. I'm gonna be honest with you. Hugh Freeze just got his new contract. He's excited. He's fired up. He knows he's got to be the coach there at Liberty for a while. The players are happy. They're excited. They're keeping their coach. I think I really believe that Liberty's going to come out and upset Arkansas at Arkansas.
Unfortunately, Joey, Arkansas has made a fool out of me this year. Because if you remember right, before the season, I was high on Arkansas. I mean, Arkansas played great last year. And that team has done nothing this year. I mean, they come so close to A&M and then dropped it. They lost just so many games. I think that Liberty actually does take this game. And I hate to say it because, I mean, I was high on Arkansas, and I like Arkansas. But yeah, I agree with you. Everything's in Liberty's favor.
Well, I believe Arkansas is the better team here. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Arkansas's got a lot more talent, of course, than Liberty does. But Liberty's playing really, really high and at the top of their level. Arkansas don't seem to be doing that this year. So I'm gonna
No.
take liberty to upset Arkansas. Uh, and all right, next game up, Michigan State at Illinois. Illinois a 17-point favorite. Man, I tell you what, Michigan State has just been a disappointing team this year to me. Anyway, I was picking them early in the season. I was picking them to win some of them games, and they were just losing them, dropping them left and right. This game here, I think Illinois is going to have way too much for Michigan State. I don't know about that 17-point line though, but the game is at Illinois, so I'll take that line. I'll take Illinois to beat them by 17.
I would take Illinois to cover the 17. But how many Michigan State players are going to beat up Illinois in the tunnel? I mean, and I think that's probably why the line is so high, because how many players is Michigan State missing? I mean, there was a whole bunch of players involved in that fight, and I know right off the bat they suspended 4 of them. Unfortunately, I never got the names of who got suspended. And so, I mean, Michigan State struggled with a full team. So if they're losing people because of a fight and they struggle with a full team, if they lose any starters, especially on that defense, I don't see any way they keep it close. And Illinois is fighting right now for the Big Ten West. I think they're the favorite right now to win it. So I definitely take Illinois.
I lost my card.
See, and we just had one scoop, John. He came in and he just said in the chat that Michigan State has 8 players suspended.
8. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
So, I mean, I mean, again, I don't know who they are, but if they're missing 8 players, odds are at least half of them, are playing in that. So, yeah, I don't see any way Michigan State even makes this a game.
All right, next game up, Maryland at Wisconsin. This is going to be a good game. This is probably going to be the best game in Big Ten all day. Maryland at Wisconsin, and Wisconsin a 5-point favorite. They're at home. Maryland's playing some good football this year. Over/under on this game is 49.5. This is a game that I would leave alone, but I will say that Maryland's going to cover that 5-point spread. I think Wisconsin wins, but I think Maryland will cover.
And this is actually one of those games, and it's not because Wisconsin can't be beat at home, but I think Maryland plays so much better at home. I think if this was at Maryland, I would put Maryland by 10. I would tell you, I really, truly believe Maryland would win by 10. But being in Wisconsin, and again, they got rid of their coach and their interim coach right now. I truly believe when Wisconsin fired their coach, this is the guy they want. So he's coaching for the job. So I have Wisconsin winning this. But I wouldn't bet on it because I could see it being a 3 to 6 point game. So, I mean, I could see Maryland winning with the points, and I could see, Wisconsin winning, giving up the points. So,
I don't even like the over/under at 49.5. I don't even like that.
No. Especially playing in Wisconsin. At Wisconsin, I would be tempted to say it's going to be under 49.5 points, but you just never know up there.
No. All right, next game up at 7 o'clock is going to be Texas at Kansas State. Texas a 2.5-point favorite over Kansas State. Kansas State laid a hurting on Oklahoma State last week. And Texas is playing probably better than any other team in the Big 12 right now. Honestly, Texas is probably playing better than anyone else. But Kansas State's not a slouch team. And this game is on the road for Texas at Kansas State. Texas being a 2.5-point favorite, I'd probably be okay with that. I would probably take Texas to win this game by 2.5 points. But that over/under at 54.5, that's my play. I'm going over on the 54.5.
Yeah, I don't see how you could go wrong going on the over on that one. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, Texas lost to Oklahoma State and Kansas State just throttled Oklahoma State, but I got Texas winning this. I'll gladly give up 2.5 points against Kansas State.
Yeah, I mean that you can't look at that and judge it. I mean, West Virginia beat Baylor, and then Baylor and then lost to Texas Tech, and then Baylor went and destroyed Texas Tech. So you can't look at those comparison games like that. Not in Big 12 this year at all. every team's playing about the same. They have
well, that's the problem with the Big 12. The Big 12, the worst team in the Big 12 can still beat the top team in the Big 12 because there's not a lot of difference in them. I mean, it's just the style. One team lines up better against another team, and
that's it. All right, so next game up, Baylor at Oklahoma. Oklahoma, a 3.5 point favorite over Baylor. Over under on this game is 61.5. That's probably going to be a pretty good over under because this is probably going to be a 33-30 or 32-29 game or something like that. So I'm a little scared of the over under because it could be just under, it could be just over. But I'm not scared to put it on Baylor. Baylor is 3.5 point favorite. I'm taking Baylor to straight up win this game.
You got Baylor winning it.
On the road to Oklahoma.
Oklahoma's looked a lot better since they got trashed by Texas. I think that kind of woke them up a little bit. And Baylor, I mean, I don't know. Again, Baylor, they lost to BYU, and BYU is pathetic. I think actually I would take I would give up the 3.5 points, and I would take Oklahoma. I just think Oklahoma's playing a little better right now. I don't think they're necessarily the better team, but I just think they're playing a little bit better right now than Baylor.
All right, I added Oklahoma to your card because we disagree there, and the reason I say Baylor is I think Baylor is the better team this year than Oklahoma, and they need the victory. They need it bad, and of course Oklahoma does too. But I just think that Baylor is going to go in there ready to play. Dave Randall will have them boys ready to go. All right, next game up. Good game in the SEC. Kentucky at Missouri. Kentucky a 1 point favorite, so it doesn't matter which way you go in this game. It's just more of a pick 'em than anything. Over under a 40. What do you see happening here, Jeff?
I'm going to take the over. I think both teams score at least 3 touchdowns, so that gives you the over right there. Up until the last couple of weeks, I would gladly take Kentucky, but just the way Kentucky's playing here recently, I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't even want to touch this game.
Yeah, that's me. Don't even want to touch it. Next game, Oklahoma State at Northwestern. 38.5 points. Point spread. I don't know if that'll be enough points. I mean, and over under 55.5. I'm taking the over because I think Ohio State's going to score 55.5 by themselves.
Yeah, I do a pick 'em with the knuckleheads over at Mark Rogers, and I put Ohio State down this week for the team that's going to score the most points in a game.
Yeah,
Iowa almost beat Northwestern by 38 points. So if Iowa's pathetic offense can score 33 on Northwestern, Ohio State's going to put 40 on them before the half.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
And usually I would not bet on Ohio State to cover, but Northwestern again is so bad. I'd gladly give up 30.5 points to Northwestern and take Ohio State.
All right. Next game, Oregon at Colorado. Oregon a 31.5 point favorite. Over under on this game 63. And once again, another game where Oregon is favored by 31.5, and I think that's an easy pick. Oregon will cover that 31.5 against Colorado. They are horrible.
Yeah, I don't see any team. Honestly, I know Colorado did win a game this year, but you can't tell me too many Power 5 teams that wouldn't beat Colorado by 31.
Right.
And especially the way
Miami,
Oregon's playing
Miami,
right
even Miami might beat them by 31.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, I've got Oregon in it, and that's 63. Again, I'm going with the over because I think Oregon's going to score probably 50, 49 to 50, somewhere in there. So
Yeah. All right. BYU at Boise State. Boise State a 9-point favorite. BYU was playing really good early in the season. Beat Baylor. It was a home game for BYU, and they beat Baylor. Had a couple of good wins in there, and then here recently they've just kind of fallen apart. Boise State's not having the best season in their history either. I mean, they've been up and down as well. I don't know about 9 points. I think BYU covers the 9. I think Boise State wins this game, but I'm going to take BYU to cover.
see, and I agree. Boise's going to win this game. I have no doubt that they're going to win. But as bad as BYU is, Boise's not that great this year. So I could see this being maybe a 4 to 7 point game. So I'll definitely take the 9 points and take BYU.
And you got to look at another thing. Isn't this like? I mean, they play each other every year, don't they? BYU and Boise, so it's sort of like a rivalry.
Yeah, it's a rivalry game.
So in a rivalry game, they're generally close anyway, and it doesn't matter how good a team is or how bad a team is, they're close. So I can't take that 9. I'll have to take BYU to cover, but Boise State will win the game.
Right.
Arizona at Utah. Utah is 17.5-point favorite. Over under on this game 67.5. Oh wow! I tell you what, that's a tough one there because 17.5 points. I don't know, man. What do you think? I'm gonna leave that game alone. What do you think?
Last week I was teasing our friend Rick, who's a USC fan, and before the game I told him, I said, I'd wish you luck, but you don't need luck. You're playing Arizona, and you know what? Arizona played USC pretty tough. It was a 7-point win. I got Utah winning this, definitely. But I would take the 17.5 points. I think Utah wins maybe by 10 to 14, but I don't think they win by 17.5.
All right, I'll choose that for you because if I had to pick that game, and like I said, I'm not going to, but if I had to, I would take Utah to cover. All right, so Colorado State, San Jose State don't care. Hawaii, Fresno State don't care. Washington State at Stanford. Washington State a 5-point favorite at Stanford, and I realize it's at Stanford. Stanford, you're not allowed to have fun, and if nobody knows what I'm talking about, they got rid of they put their mascot. He's been suspended because they held up a sign that said you can't have fun at Stanford. So they suspended him to show him how much fun he could have at Stanford. That ain't no sense to me. But anyway, Washington State 5-point favorite at Stanford. I'm taking Washington State to cover this in this game.
Yeah, Washington State. Unfortunately, Stanford played a really good game against Notre Dame. But other than that game, they really haven't shown up very much in the other games. And Washington State, I think they got a little bit to prove. So, yeah, I'll gladly give up 5 points and take Washington State.
Yeah. All right. Next game up looks like USC's got a bye week. They're playing Cal.
Yeah, that's a bye week.
22-point favorite at home. Over under 60.5. I may take the under because I just think that USC is going to be so far ahead in this game. They'll take their starters out. I think Cal's going to struggle to even score maybe 10 points. I think USC will win this game pretty easily. I'll take USC to cover.
Yeah, I'll take USC to cover, and I'll definitely take the under because, as you said, I can see this being a 35-3 game at half, and USC just resting some players, and playing some
That's
new
true.
guys to just give some new guys some time, So yeah, I don't think I think USC is going to score 45 to 49 points on their own, but I don't see Cal scoring.
Now here's a good game. Out of the group of 5, we got Middle Tennessee State on the road at Louisiana Tech. Middle Tennessee State, a 2.5-point favorite. Over under on this game is going to be 63.5. I'll take. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to take Middle Tennessee State to cover the 2.5. I'll take them to win it.
Yeah, I think Middle Tennessee State will definitely win this by. I think they're going to win between 7 to 10 points. I'll give up 2.5 points to Louisiana Tech.
Yeah. Next game, UCLA at Arizona State. UCLA 11.5-point favorite. I'll be honest with you. I thought back at the beginning of the year, I thought UCLA is probably going to be a team about like Arizona State last year. I mean, I really did. I didn't think UCLA was going to have anything. They've proved me wrong week in and week out. They're 11.5-point favorites here on the road against Arizona State. I don't have a problem taking UCLA in this game to cover.
If this game would have been played 5 or 6 weeks ago, I'd have took Arizona State in the points. But UCLA every week is getting better and better and better. And they're playing a lot better now than they were. So, yeah, I agree with you. I'll give up the 11.5 points and take UCLA.
Florida on the road at Texas A&M. Texas A&M, a 3-point favorite. So this is really just a toss-up game, and because A&M's at home, they're going to give them 3 points. Over/under on this game is 56. You know what? Give me Florida. I'm going to take Florida in this game. I'm going to take Florida to straight up win this game.
Yeah, I got Florida winning this outright. This would be what? Will this be 4 in a row or 5 in a row? I can't think off the top of my head. That Texas A&M, this will be – I think this is game number 4 that they're going to lose in a row. This isn't going to look good for Jimbo. It really isn't. Florida, I think won't win by a lot, but I definitely see Florida winning this game.
All right, next game is Tulane on the road against Tulsa. Tulane is 7.5-point favorite. Over/under in this game is 56.5. I'll be honest with you. I'll take the over. I think this game's going to be a pretty high-scoring game myself.
Yeah, I think it'll be a shootout.
Yeah, so I would take the over in this game. I don't think I'd pick Tulane or Tulsa, either one. I think it's going to be a close game. I think the over/under is where to go, and I'd go with the over.
I think I would pick Tulane only because they're ranked for the first time, and I think it's going to help motivate them. But I agree with you. I wouldn't personally put money on that game because 7.5, that just seems like a lot.
Yeah. Next game up, Houston on the road at SMU. SMU a 3-point favorite. So once again, basically saying that this is just a toss-up game and that SMU is the home team, so they're getting 3 points. Over/under on this game is 66.5. And I realize these two teams are going to score a lot of points. Don't get me wrong. But I don't know about that 66.5, so I would stay away from the over/under on this game, and I'll take SMU to cover the 3. I think they'll beat Houston.
Yeah, I agree. I can see SMU honestly winning by probably 10 or more. I think SMU is just a much better team right now than Houston. And it's kind of sad for Houston because if you listen to everybody before the season started, Houston was supposed to be, Cincinnati from last year. They were supposed to be so great, possibly going undefeated, and just
well,
look
they
how
would
they
if they
played.
had a coach.
Yeah,
they would be if they had a coach. That's the problem. Next game, Georgia State, Southern Miss. Southern Miss is a 2.5-point favorite. Don't really care about that game, but I'll pick it and say Southern Miss will win it. cover 2.5.
Yeah, I would take Southern Miss.
Next game, South Carolina at Vanderbilt. So we got the battle of the two really, really bad SEC teams here. South Carolina, yeah, okay. I'll take South Carolina to win it. I think they can cover. I think they can cover 7 points. I think they're a little bit better than Vanderbilt. I know they got more talent than Vanderbilt. So, I mean, come on. I'm going to take South Carolina to cover 7 points.
I think Vanderbilt wishes they could take back some of the points they put up on Hawaii and use those points a little bit later in the year. Because I think they just, they used all the points they could in the first 2 games. And so, yeah, I mean, I have to take South Carolina. I'll be rooting for Vanderbilt, just because, being a Bama fan in the SEC, I always kind of root for Vanderbilt because, they've been bad for so long. But, yeah, South Carolina is going to win this one, and they're going to win by more than 7.
Next game, Auburn on the road at Mississippi State. Auburn finally fired their coach. And so the team's going to be a little bit down, or are they going to be a little bit excited? I mean, which one are they going to be? I think they're going to be a little bit down, and then going on the road to play Mississippi State. Mississippi State for about 12.5. I think they could have made this line 17, and I still took Mississippi State. I'm taking Mississippi State to win this game. I'll lay the points.
Yeah, I can never pick Auburn. There's just no way I can do it. Plus, I mean, in all honesty, Mississippi State this year, I mean, it's Mississippi State. Those cowbells, you never know what you're going to get with Mississippi State. And I think this year they probably beat Auburn by 2021. So I'll definitely take Mississippi State.
How about the big one? All right. Tennessee going on the road against Georgia. Georgia, and this line really surprised me. And it's moved a little bit through the week, up and down. But Georgia, 7.5-point favorite over Tennessee. The over-under is 66.5. I don't care about the over-under. My pick, I'm taking Tennessee straight up to win this game, to upset Georgia. And that's going to be mine. So I'm going to play. Well, I've already done it, I believe, on one ticket. I'm going to play the money line on this game and take Tennessee.
This game is hard for me. I want Georgia to win so we can play them in the SEC championship, beat them again, and show them that, you're a one-hit wonder. But yet Tennessee beat us this year, so I want them to win so we can play them in the SEC championship and show them that, it was a fluke. So, I mean, as a Bama fan, I want to play both of them. I want my revenge on both of them. And being a Bama fan, it's hard for me to pick Tennessee, but I'm going to pick Tennessee just because Georgia fans have been so obnoxious and act like they've been there. I would like to see Tennessee beat them and show them that, you was a one-hit wonder. So I'm gonna take Tennessee, and I'll give Georgia 7.5 points.
All right. Next game up. Texas Tech on the road at TCU. TCU an 8.5-point favorite. This will probably be a game that will score between the two teams. There'll be over 100 points between the two teams, most likely. So the over-under on this game is 69.5. I will take the over on this game. I think Texas Tech is going to score a lot, and I know TCU is going to score a lot. Can TCU cover 8.5 points? I don't know. I think TCU will win, but covering 8.5 points against Texas Tech is going to be tough, just simply because they can score a lot of points as well. So I'm going to take the over in this game, and I would leave the pick alone. What do you think?
Actually, I'm going to take TCU, and I'm going to give up the points, and here's why. They were ranked number 7 in the playoffs, and I think that really has angered them. And so the only way for them to move up is to win, and to win big. So I think TCU will win this, and I think they cover.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna put that on there because I think TCU will win it. I'm not sure about covering. That's why I would just play the over under on this game. Central Florida on the road against Memphis. Central Florida 3.5 point favorite. Over under 59.5. I would be okay taking Central Florida here. UCF can cover the 3.5 points, I believe.
Yeah, I see them winning by between 4 and 7, pretty easy. So I'd take Central Florida with you.
West Virginia on the road at Iowa State. Iowa State a 7 point favorite. Over under on this game's 50. Oh man, a lot of turmoil coming out of Morgantown right now. I mean, there's so much talk, so much chatter, and Neil Brown's getting an earful, and he knows that the fans want him gone, the boosters want him gone. So I really don't believe West Virginia's going to play very good, and they never do play very good in Ames, Iowa anyway. Ames, Iowa is a very tough place to play. So I'm going to have to say that there's no way West Virginia wins this game. I think Iowa State wins this game. Now, can they cover the 7 points? That's where I'm not sure. So I would take West Virginia and the points in this game. I think that West Virginia will cover the 7, but I think Iowa State wins this game.
Yeah, I got Iowa State winning simply because it's in Ames. If it was in Morgantown, I think I'd go the other way. Iowa State doesn't have a very good offense this year, but they got a great defense. So I'll take. You know what? I'm going to take Iowa State. I'm going to give up the 7 points. I think they will beat West Virginia by 7.
Yeah, that's not a bad pick. There, I'll throw them on the card for you since we disagreed. New Mexico at Utah State. Utah State is 16-point favorite. No need in talking about that one. No need in talking about that one, really, unless you're wanting to. Texas, San Antonio, and UAB. All right. The game that you're going to want to talk about more than anything, and Luke can let us know exactly what's going to happen here. All right. So Alabama on the road at LSU, going to the other Death Valley. I don't know which one's the real Death Valley. I've never been to either one of them, so I can't judge it. I will say this. LSU has gotten some pretty lucky wins, in my opinion, this year. I don't think they're as good as their record says, but I don't think they're as bad as a lot of people think either. But I'm going to take Alabama to cover 13 points. Give me Alabama.
I'll start off by saying that historically, the games are close. Alabama, even in our championship years, we struggle with LSU. And LSU, when they won the title in 19, they had us down by 21 points, and we come back and made it a 3-point game. Unfortunately, this year, LSU has Brian Kelly as a coach, and Kelly can't coach in a big game. And so, honestly, if any other coach was there, I would put this as Alabama wins but doesn't cover. But because Kelly is there, and I just don't think he can coach in the big game, I think Alabama's going to beat them probably by 17 to 21 points. One thing people don't understand is everybody talks about, well, LSU, that Death Valley. You don't understand how hard it is to win there. And you don't understand how hard it is to win there, at night. I know this ain't a night game, but they always say that. Alabama is really good at LSU. So we don't have a problem with there.
It's a night game.
Oh, yeah. No, it is a night game. But still, even the night game, it's not going to save LSU.
Yeah.
Plus, Alabama now has their back against the wall. They know they can't lose another game. So we gave up our freebie. So, yeah, I have us I have us winning this one by at least 17.
Yeah. I would agree with you 100%. Looking down through here real quick. Let's see if there's again. There we go. All right. Clemson on the road at Notre Dame. And Will's going to be so mad at me. I'm sorry, Will. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not Will. Will's not going to be mad at me. Bowman's going to be mad at me. Jordan Bowman. But I'm sorry, Jordan. I have to take Notre Dame to upset Clemson. I'm taking Notre Dame to straight up win this game.
Notre Dame can run the ball. That'll help Notre Dame cut the clock down. It'll limit the possessions. Clemson has struggled, and I think actually I would pick Notre Dame in the upset on this one.
Yeah, that's me.
I do think though the over under at 44. I definitely think I'd take the over on that one. I can see both of them scoring in the 20, the mid 20s. So
yeah,
this game is going to be at least 24-21. So that's 45 points right there. So
right, yeah, I agree with you there. I'd take the over in this game at 44. But yeah, I just think that Notre Dame has played Notre Dame played Ohio State fairly close, 21-10. Then they turn around and lost to Marshall. How they done that, I don't know. But Clemson has struggled as well. And honestly, they didn't look too good against Syracuse. I mean, they had a lot of turnovers in that game. And if they go
I'm also
to South
picking
Bend,
Notre Dame. I'm also picking Notre Dame for two other reasons, Joey. We got two guys in the chat that are really good. One of them is Darrell. So for Darrell MVP, if Notre Dame knocks off Clemson, that gives him another chance to get another SEC into the playoffs because he wants to see three of them. And the other person I'll poke a little fun at, I want to see Notre Dame win, is our good friend Tim Prangley. We need Notre Dame to win out so that way he sweats just a little bit for that Notre Dame USC game. So that way it means a little more than, a cakewalk as it looked like when Notre Dame was losing to Marshall and Stanford and that. So if Notre Dame does do the upset, it'll make both of their days.
So we're both taking Notre Dame there. All right, so we've got you a card here. Let's go and see what we got, and place a bet here. So let's go, and we're gonna make us a parlay card for you. Let's see what we got here. All right, so you're taking Rutgers plus 27. So you're taking Rutgers to cover. Penn State minus 14.5. So you're taking Penn State to cover 14.5. You're taking Rutgers to lose the game, I believe, is what it was, but cover 27.
Yeah, Rutgers is going to lose the game, but they'll cover.
Yeah. Louisville, a 7.5 point favorite, and you've got them winning by 7.5. Nebraska to cover 16. Oklahoma to win 3.5 points. Arizona to cover 17.5. TCU to win 8.5. And Iowa State to win by 7.
By 7, yep.
And let's just throw you $5 on here and see what happens. So if you can win this, it's $872.17. And let's see how it goes.
There you go. I can supersize my McDonald's next time.
Yeah. So I'm gonna confirm that. And look at that. I'm gonna have to go back and pick them again. You know what? I'll go back and watch the video because I've exceeded the maximum amount of time. My bets were on my bet slip. We took too long. So I'll go back and watch the video and get your picks off again, and and do that. But yeah, well, we've been at exactly 1 hour, man. We did good. I wanted to be done by 8 o'clock. We did it. We went right through the card. Anybody in the chat, I appreciate you being here. And listen, Mark Rogers is going live right now. Head to Mark Rogers. That's where we're all going to go, where we're all going to be. And also at 10 o'clock, Tide Guy is going to go live on his channel to play some trivia. Tide Guy, tell him about that real quick.
Yeah, tonight on my channel at 10 p.m. Eastern. Every Thursday night we do a trivia show, and then on Monday we do a sports Jeopardy at 10 p.m. Tonight's show, um, gonna be a little. It's gonna be good tonight because I just got the 10th anniversary Trivial Pursuit. So not only will we be asking from 81 and older and the sports from 83 and older, but now this new one is 1991. So we're getting newer questions because we got a lot of younger players. So it'll be a lot of fun. You guys come over and watch. We got Joey, Tim, Tony. You know, they're always on there. So you can come over and see how smart they are, not only in college football, but in other geography and history and stuff like that.
So everybody in the chat, I appreciate you coming in. And sorry I didn't get to read chat very much tonight. And if I missed the super chat because I was over on the other windows and stuff, I really apologize. And if you send in a super chat, really appreciate you and really thank you a lot. But you guys, hopefully, Golden Blue Dude will be back with you tomorrow night. But, you know, he's still pretty sick, running some pretty high fevers. So let's all keep him in your thoughts. Maybe shoot him an email or something at refsuck@gmail.com, telling him you wish him well. And we will see everybody later on, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you later.